talks about marriage and what the Bible says about marriage, they often mention leaving and cleaving. Yet, they never really tell you what that really looks like in real life and how hard it is to leave and cleave. But before I get into all that, let me welcome you back to my channel. My name is Ayanna, and this is Beyond Committed, where we talk about everything from life, faith, family, marriage, motherhood, and everything in between, and we take them beyond. If this is your first time here, welcome, and I'm so glad you stopped by. And to make sure you're not a stranger, make sure you press that subscribe button below and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a video. All right, now let's dive right in. Now, I couldn't talk about leaving and cleaving without the one I cleave to. So I invited my husband Eric here today because if we're going to talk about the realities of leaving and cleaving, we need both sides of it. But before we can actually talk about how that is and how we walk it out, first we got to talk about what it is.
Yeah, so for me, the Word of God, the Bible, that's my source of just encouragement, motivation, guidance, instructions, etc. And specifically around this topic, in Genesis 2:24, it says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh."
Now that we have that out of the way, we got the basics down. Now, what does that look like in reality? How do we leave and cleave successfully? How do you and your husband or your husband-to-be walk this out in a way that is God-honoring, in a way that is supportive of you, but also in a way that's in the reality of real life? So let's talk about leaving and cleaving.
Yeah, so, as a guy growing up, I never thought about a wedding. I never had a vision. I never thought, hey, what kind of tux suit I'm going to wear? Am I going to be double-breasted, single-breasted, the lapel? Like, none of that ever exists. And so it amazes me, being a girl dad as well, watching my girls grow up and all of the shows and stuff that they're into. I'm like, okay, I can see now how this day now has become the main event, if you will, right? But here's the reality. For the majority of guys out there, I got a few guys out there, friends of mine, that, was looking for to anticipate marriage. God bless them and keep them. They do not represent the majority, however. And so along those lines, though, is the fact that we are oblivious to the fact that not only does your bride-to-be have a vision and dreams of what her wedding day would be, but so do a whole number other of your relatives. I'm talking about mothers, grandmothers, aunties, other cousins. It's amazing to me the level of expectation and anticipation in terms of location, venue, who will be invited, who isn't, all of these other things. And it can be very overwhelming for someone, the guy in this case, that's completely flat-footed and caught off guard because you ain't thought nothing about none of this. And all everybody's got an opinion and perspective, and you're kind of caught up in the middle of it, if you will, in trying to navigate that. And so I think that's the beginning process of leaving your father and mother that comes from a lot of different angles depending upon, the size of your family from that respect.
And I also would say from a bride's perspective, you also have like the added expectation of your parents and your siblings and your grandma, and everybody has an opinion about what it should look like and how you should walk that out. And you have to manage all that. And that's hard in and of itself. It's this day that you've dreamed of. Now you're having to manage everybody else's dreams. And you're like, but you wasn't at my dream. This ain't your dream. You ain't getting married. But in order to honor and respect and show love and care to those that you have loved and cared about for forever, you have to be mindful of that. And it's hard to navigate that. So it's so important that you are first mindful that those things exist and don't go into it like, okay, now this is my wedding, this is mine. Yes, it's yours.
None of that bridezilla stuff.
It's not going to serve you well. It's not going to serve you well over the long haul, because at the end of the day, it should be a celebration, a coming together of creating a new union, yes, but a celebration of your two individuals, because it says just two become one. So you're celebrating the two, creating the one. So you have to just be mindful of that. And I think if you go into it mindful of, okay, there's going to be some things that come up. There's going to be some things that are said. There's going to be some people's expectations and dreams and visions that you did not know existed. But to be mindful of that and to be just kind to it doesn't mean you have to go with it. No, this is your marriage to be, or your marriage now. If you're newlywed, and you have to walk that out as God is ordering you, not how somebody else walked theirs out or didn't walk theirs out, because then there's the, well, I didn't have this, so I want you to have that expectation put on a lot of people. And it's like, okay, no, you didn't have that, then you relive that for you. Renew your vows or something if that's what you need. But don't put that on me. So it's so important that both as the groom and the bride, you're mindful of everybody else's expectations of your wedding. But there are also some expectations of your marriage that you're not aware of either.
Yeah, so before we jump to that, I do want to throw something out. And the fact is, as a girl dad, I'm watching my daughters watch all of these shows. Say yes to the dress, what not to wear, all of this kind of whatever. So the seeds are being planted in terms of their vision of what their wedding day will look like and all this kind of stuff, right? But again, here we go again. As a guy, I'm just going to show up. But quiet as it's kept, Ayanna already has ideas and what they should do and how these. So the very things we encountered, now she's become one of them. But the reality is they will leave as well and then cleave to their future husbands, right? And so, again, trusty old dad will be here to kind of coach it and manage through that situation. But the irony of it is, it's like history already repeating itself, and the girls aren't even, at an age to even be dating yet, right? But I can already see kind of the interest that lies there.
And then I, as the mom, the mother of the bride to be one day, like, I'm mindful of that too. And I have to be aware of not putting my expectations on them, on what I think it should look like, or, how their marriage should go, realizing that, I have to trust God in that. And we actually pray now for their future husbands. His name is Carl. It's just Carl. It's universal. All of their husbands, his name is Carl. Because I don't know why. But I pray for him. We talk about him as like he's a real person. Because he is. He's somewhere in the world. Somebody is raising Carl right now. And I am praying for him. But we also talk about like the things in which, we want for them, and realizing that regardless of what we want for them, we have to trust that God has what's best for them. So we have to be mindful of that. And I, as the mom, have to make sure that when we get to that point in life, I am not putting my expectations, my wants, my dreams, what didn't happen in my wedding on them. And I just need to enjoy the process, because one day they will leave me. And I have to be okay with that, because I left my parents, and it was one of the best decisions, because my marriage is one of the best things to me, and it was such a blessing to us. But it's have to be mindful of, okay, just because I leave and cleave, I have to be mindful that my daughters will as well.
Yeah, and I think along those lines, right? So one of the things as you prepare to cleave is, I think you do need to embrace, right, this separation. Let's face the fact that you have spent the majority of your life connected to your parents. So even though the verse tells us, right, you'll leave your father and your mother, we can't lose sight of the fact that these were the parents that God assigned you to. So from the day you entered the world, they were there to care and to nurture for you. Or it could be another loved one, a guardian, a grandparent, depending upon the circumstances and what happened to your life. But we can talk about roles in the relationship there, and the fact that there's still a separation that has to take place. And so in the midst of that, celebrating those things that you have learned, the traditions that you have, some of those you will carry forth into your new union of becoming one in your new immediate family. But now that your former is now your extended family, if you will, as you begin that process on that day, making everything official to now cleave, to your spouse.
Yeah. And I think that's something you also have to be mindful and respectful of, because people had certain, roles and positions in your life or your husband's life that they no longer have. And that's hard. Yeah. So it's not something that you should take lightly, because it's like, his mom was first in his life. Yeah. But when he married me, I became first. God is preeminent. So God is before it all. Yeah. But as far as human relationships, And that, that's a delicate situation that you have to navigate. And you have to be respectful and mindful of that. But you also have to create boundaries and have those healthy conversations about, okay, what does this look like? And we had to have some tough conversations between us. And then we had to have some tough conversations with our family, realizing that, okay, yes, we have been with you. You have supported and loved and cared for us and, provided for us for all these years. But now we need to support and love and provide for each other. And we can't do and be all we were to you now that we're in a marriage. So that's a hard thing to do, but you have to do it with care and with love and with a lot of prayer, because you'll experience and you'll hear some things and you'll have some conversations. You'll be like, really? You think that, or you wanted that, or you think I should do that? And then your first instinct is like, girl, bye. But you can't say that, especially if it's like your parents. So it's so important that you're just mindful of that. And you are making sure that, yes, you are cleaving. But as you leave, you do that well and with love.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is you continue to honor your parents. You respect them. You love them. There's no need to, in the midst of that separation, a severing, if you will, that you need to dishonor or disrespect them. That in itself will hinder and block your blessings. And you really don't want to do that as you're now trying to establish a new foundation and build and grow. So I would just encourage you, collectively, as you think about leaving and cleaving, that you're mindful of it. I personally, I don't think at the time I was very, what I would call, reactive instead of proactive. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm happy to have this discussion, is if it helps one other person, out there to proactively think about things, and then you can pray about it and then be prepared accordingly, to kind of walk it out.
Yeah. And I think it's important to have those conversations early and often, and have them in light ways, not break down, okay,
when an issue arises,
right, because now it's an issue, so you're dealing with the issue and now you're dealing with what you should have dealt with already. So it's like, okay, if you have those little conversations over time, when an issue comes, because they will. I mean, family is messy. And then you're taking two people's messy families and putting them together, and y'all supposed to just love and everything is like, leave it to Beaver. No, that's just not reality, because, we all have stuff and we all have our own thoughts and opinions and perspectives and all that. So it's so important that we have those conversations early and often. And we're setting boundaries, not just for family, but within our own marriage, because you have to make sure that, okay, what is not okay, and then sometimes you have to reevaluate the boundaries or reevaluate the situation, because the same things don't stay the same all the time. I mean, change is inevitable. How you feel, the situation, your family dynamics, everything changes over time. So when you're looking to leave and cleave, realizing that it's not a one-day thing as well. I think when we go into it okay, the wedding day, this is leaving and cleaving, and then everything just happens. No, this should be something that you have been cultivating and you have been nurturing, getting ready for this moment. But it's just like a moment, just like in marriage. Marriage is a journey. Your wedding day is a destination marker in that journey, but it's not the full journey. You have so much more life to live in marriage and all of that. So it's so important that you're mindful of that, realizing that you need to just, slowly, see kind of what is going on and what do you think about leaving and cleaving, both for yourselves as a couple, and how do you actually walk that out within your family dynamics, and make sure that you do so with love and care. All right, that's it for today. And I want to know, was leaving and cleaving easy for you, or are you still preparing for it? And what are your questions about it? Make sure you drop them in the comment box below. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and then make sure you press that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a video. All right, now until we see you again, bye.